Hello everyone, I invite you to the Friday cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the one-day interval. First, we will use the yellow lines to mark the uptrend channel in which the BTC price is moving. Now we can move on to marking the places of support in case of further correction. And here, in the first place, it is worth marking the support at the price of $22,959, which currently held the price, but when we go lower, we can see a drop to around $21,532, then to $20,383, and even $19,215. Looking the other way, in a similar way using the fib retracement tool, we can determine the places of resistance. First, we have resistance just above the price at $23,145. When we manage to break it, we have a second very strong resistance at $25,221. Only when the price overcomes it and positively tests it, the way will open towards $31,233. Please pay attention to the CHOP index, which indicates that despite the correction the energy is growing. The MACD indicator indicates that we are on the verge of a downward trend change. While the RSI shows a visible rebound, but be careful because there is still room for a larger correction. As the second chart in today's review, we'll be looking at ETH versus USDT on a 4-hour timeframe. First of all, with the yellow line we can mark the uptrend line from which the price has gone down. While with the blue lines we will mark the narrow channel of the local downtrend in which we are moving. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the fib retracement tool to mark the support. And as you can see, we have the first support at $1,603. Then we can mark the strong support zone from $1,570 to $1,522. When the price goes lower, we have the third support at $1,462. It is worth paying attention to the EMA cross 10 and 30, which indicate the place of confirmation of the downward trend change. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we have the first resistance at $1,630. The next resistance is at $1,652. Then we can mark the resistance zone from $1,669 to $1,711. and then the resistance at $1,743. The CHOP index indicates that most of the energy has been used. The MACD indicator indicates a local downtrend. On the other hand, on the RSI we see a definite rebound. We are moving at the lower end of the range, which may slow down further price declines. As the third one, we will check the ADA chart on a one-day timeframe. At the beginning, we can mark with a yellow line, the downtrend line, which the price has overcome and is currently staying above it. Let's start by marking the support places for the price, and we see that first we have a support zone from 38 cents to 35 cents. But if the price goes lower, we have another zone from 33 cents to 31 cents. And then we have a very strong support zone from 28 cents to 24 cents. Looking the other way, we can similarly determine the places of resistance that the price has to face. And here we see that we have the first resistance at 41 cents. Then we have a strong resistance zone from 46 cents to 52 cents. When we manage to break it, the next resistance will appear at 59 cents. The CHOP index indicates that there is still a lot of energy to continue the move. The MACD indicates the entry into a downward trend, while the RSI shows a rebound, but it still remains in the upper part, which may indicate a larger rebound. The last one in today's chart is the DOT chart in pair to USDT, on a one-day interval. First, we will use the blue lines to mark the downtrend channel from which the price has gone up and is currently moving in the uptrend channel marked with yellow lines. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here the first support is at $7.03. Then we have a support zone from $6.50 to $6.07. And then we have a strong support zone from $5.63 to $5. But when the price drops below this zone, the next support is at the price of $4.23. Looking the other way, we see that the first resistance is at $7.60. Then we have resistance at $8.51, and the next resistance is at $9.67. Please look at the CHOP index, which shows most of the energy has been used up. The MACD indicates we are close to entering a downtrend, and the RSI has a rebound, but still at the top, which could lead to a bigger correction. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.